Welcome everyone to the Serpent Tarot for another Pick a Card reading. So today we're asking what is coming to you in divine timing now. So it could be a blessing, it could be a boon, it could be a challenge, it could be an opportunity, it could be a number of things. They could be all coming together or at slightly different times. So we're going to start the reading with some sort of time-related sort of information, get as much as we can about the time and the nature of the energy. Then we'll look with tarot into what is the blessing, what might be the challenge or the opportunity, and then how you can know the difference and know when it's happening. Then we'll have a look at what's required of you to make the most of divine timing and give you some advice about how to do that. So to choose your reading, and by all means go to more than one if you feel drawn to more than one, I'm using the Revolving Time Oracle, which is an oracle that's about time. As you'll see, there's sort of time energies or periods of time already in part of the choice. There's 3 other cards from this deck for each. I don't know what they are, so I just asked Spirit for something that was a core unifying energy or timing that could be important. Of course, Spirit was a little bit obscure for pile number 2 by the looks of things with time is hidden, but we might get some other timing about aspects of it that's helpful with the other cards. I'm also using another deck to help work out the kind of nature or areas or other energy around what Spirit is trying to do before we get into the tarot, and that's also under these cards. But if you feel particularly drawn, given some of the timing or the nature of the cards or the images, by all means use that to find your reading. Otherwise, whatever you do, all readings do you. Pile number 1, we have the Temptation card. This is actually the Devil card in this deck. This deck has all the major arcana and all the court cards and then a few other cards. So it could be around temptation. I always think the way that it's portrayed in this particular deck, it looks a lot around relationships, but it doesn't have to be. Or it could be something around Capricorn season. So if you have a sense around that timing, depended upon when you're seeing this reading, because it's a timeless reading, or if you have Capricorn strongly in your chart, any of those things could connect up. For pile number 2, we have the card that's based on the High Priestess, and it says time is hidden. But if you're drawn to energy around the spiritual, the psychic, the mysterious, that could draw you to pile number 2. And pile number 3, we have the winter season. This is technically the Page of Swords. It's talking about curiosity. So if things are in communication, connection, maybe online, any of those things with the Page of Swords energy draws you, or you like the look of the character there, or winter, you think winter could be an important time for you. I mean, one of the things I would say about this, particularly with those 2 where there is actually a period of time, you may be the sort of person who finds that certain things happen at a period of time in each year. That can often be astrologically based. So if that's the case and that draws you, that's very valid. But whatever sort of is drawing you, go to whatever reading or readings you want. The timestamps are in the description box below. Just really quickly before you do, every once in a while I mention this. If you want to support the channel, I now have a Patreon, and that has exclusive content and benefits. I also do private readings and tarot mentoring, and I have a How to Read Tarot Like Me course on my Etsy store. The details for that are below as well. So if you're interested in any of those things, you can access those services that way. Okay, so let me see you in your reading. Welcome, pile 1, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the Temptation card, or the Devil card, as I say in traditional tarot. And as I said, this probably connects somehow to Capricorn season. So the sort of month period that Capricorn is in play. So that's pretty much just before Christmas, starting around about December 2021, and ending sort of around about that same time period in January. So it's interesting because it's a period of time in the year where we reflect on what we've actually achieved and let go of what isn't sort of working, and we have our New Year's resolution. So I suspect this is an energy around divine timing for you that is, what have you felt bound to that you could let go? What have you felt bound to that you would sort of recommit to? I think that's the sort of energy, particularly when we've got options here operating. And I think it has to do with emotional things that go back quite deep into who you truly are and who you truly want to connect with. Because the 3 other timing cards, the only other timing we're being told with this card, which is effectively the Hangman, surrender, is expect delays with timing. And that's very interesting because although this isn't from the Revolving Time, we have autumn showing up, a period of maturity and or the beginning of decline. This is what do you keep, what do you move on from energy. And that would be depending upon where you are in the world. That will either have just passed by the time you get to Capricorn season, or it may be saying that Capricorn season is a fair way away. So I just think there's a sense about whatever this is meant to sort of mature at least over a number of months, maybe over almost an entire year. And so that's why there's sort of delays, and it's still in divine timing though. So Spirit is saying is whatever this is will take time to mature, but it has a very deep root because we have inner child here. So, and there's something in the space, if we think of autumn as to what we let go of, what has reached and what actually nourishes the earth for the new growth as well. There's something from very early in your life that is connected to this. Now, for some of you with the soul family over here, it may be the journey to find your soul family, and over, say, at the most this next 12 months, you're likely to do that. That could be something that is coming into divine timing, but it may mean for those of you that is what this is about, that your birth family is not necessarily your soul family or only some members of it. So that doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with your birth family or anything like that. You'll know whether you have tension or not in that space. But it does suggest that there is a connection to your inner energy that helps bring through your chosen family, the ones that you connect with deeply, the soul family energy. And it's going to take a little bit of time to really sort that through. This is why I think, so saying this looks very much like relationship energy to me, but not necessarily always lovers. So it does look a bit like lovers. And lovers could be part of it, finding a love in your life. That could be happening, a very significant one over the next year. You may have to let go of a love in your life to bring in the right energy as well. But there's certainly sort of something that says that the yearning to find your people has been there from very early. And that's the process of understanding it, the divine timing. And you have options. Now, this connects to moon phases. So it's saying that although there is a long range to this, you'll go through phases and have lots of choices as you get towards this, because the moon phases happen every month. So the moon moves very quickly. And that would tell me that there's going to be a multiple number of options that come up for you that you're meant to explore before making the long-term commitment, I would say. So over the space of any number of months, and I think it's kind of the months from where autumn is to where the next Capricorn season is. I think that's what we're looking at to get to the timing of this. You're going to have a lot of choices over this period of time. And I think the important thing is just to sort of work out when the choices present themselves to you. It might give you a bit of a clue about, is this sort of something that you're taking forward or not? Because if you look at moon phases, there are certain moon phases and timing like the new moon where you withdraw, you go into yourself and you determine what you want to do next. Other ones, you might be clarifying your goals and pushing past blocks like the waxing gibbous moon. In the waning gibbous, you synthesize and integrate lessons. But then say in the last quarter moon, you break down the old and prepare for the new. So I just think that there are particular periods of time where you'll know what you're doing if you pay attention to the timing of the moon. It may also say to some degree with this energy that you may be a little bit hostage to your emotions as well. So if you're the sort of person who does wax and wane a lot with moon phases, pay attention to that. It may in fact be saying for some of you the exact opposite. Don't make a decision when the moon phases are affecting you. Yeah, if there are particular phases that affect you more than others, it might be a better time to just go within before you make those decisions. But either way, there is a propulsion with the surrender with the Hanged Man towards finding your soul family. And this is all happening over this period of time, and you will have divine timing to help you with that. So given that, let's ask firstly with tarot, what is the blessing of the divine timing for you? Hanged Man again. It's a blessing. It's a blessing that it's taking time. The Star reversed. The Knight of Wands. The Eight of Swords reversed. Death reversed. Okay, yeah. The biggest blessing about this is it's taking time. So I feel like you are looking for your soul family, maybe your soul connection, your love connection, whatever it is. The problem would be is if you went too quickly towards that, you may make the wrong decisions. You may operate very much on your emotions rather than what is core to you. You may not have accessed what was important in your inner child, or your inner child may be very emotional and not very clear. So it's all around having the time to make these decisions. You don't have to rush. We have that there. We have the Hanged Man again. It is saying for the people who come here that the reason you're being slowed down, because you really want to start moving, the reason you're being slowed down is you don't know what your ultimate goal is. It's a little bit undefined. And so if you at least know where you're heading, like your soul family, this helps you to do that. But to do that, it's almost like you have to explore something from when you were very young, or something that's very hidden and precious in you that maybe you haven't kind of brought out to look at. And it's important to do that, because until you do that, you could end up making the wrong choice. This is the issue. And the next thing we're going to look at is what is the challenge of the divine timing. So, but the boon of it, the blessing, is that it's slowing you down enough to recalibrate, so that you don't go rushing in, so that when you are doing it, you feel free to make a choice that you haven't felt ready to do yet. So I think unless you are feeling very impatient, the blessing will be that you have time to do this. If this is not about finding your soul family, if it's about finding those that you connect to for a business or a creative career or something like that, again, you don't have to rush it. In fact, rushing it is the one thing that would be a problem. The boon of this is that you are meant to be given a long period of time through which you can even start to learn your own emotional responses. This is why the moon phase is there, so that you actually start to work out what your right trajectory is before you start moving towards it. That way, you're almost freed from the decision. This is what it's saying, is if you actually do your core work, the decision makes itself and you don't have to worry about it. But if you rush it, then you may end up in the wrong position. So there's something here about there's things to let go and there's things to move towards. And there's a connection to your real soul family or your right people to be with in some way. But you've got some exploration to do, and the divine timing is going to make sure you take the time to do it. So let's see what the challenge is of the divine timing. If the slowing down and the kind of delays or whatever are all actually working for you, what is the challenge of the divine timing? Six of Swords, Six of Wands, Seven of Cups, Nine of Pentacles. Okay. The challenge is feeling peaceful and that you have a direction before you have all the information. That's what the Six of Swords really is. It's peaceful enough to move forward. You've let go of certain things with the Five of Swords. You're moving forward. So it is a challenge to be peaceful when you don't have all the answers and where you're being made to wait. The other challenge is that in some way with this, you're looking for recognition. You're looking for a victory. You're looking for an early win, whatever it might be, career, relationships, love. And it's asking you to exist without that, to believe in the dream, the Seven of Cups here, without having the evidence. And it's asking you to do this alone. You're ultimately going to end up with the right people, the right lover, the right soul family, the right people to work with. But the challenge is that you have to be able to just move forward with confidence without the sort of recognition and the evidence, believing in the dream, and you have to move forward on your own. There's something like that. Now, this doesn't mean if it's about checking if the person you're with is your right person, that you necessarily have to be alone on that level. I think it would just be that you have to be prepared for the fact that in the end, when you've really worked out what the dream is, this may or may not be the person, and therefore you need to be prepared to do this on your own. Because that's the only way you can really find the right people for you. Otherwise, it's a little bit more. You're determined by who is recognizing you, who is seeing you, who is loving you, whatever, as opposed to you deciding what you want. Okay, so then, how can you best know the difference between when this is when you should be moving forward, when you've got enough energy to move, and information to move forward, compared to when you need to be taking your time, which is what this is all really about. Two of Pentacles reversed, King of Swords reversed, and the blank card, all right. So it's not really going to tell us. It's a blank card, so it's the same either way. So it's saying this reading is not meant to tell you. That's why it won't tell us. So it's saying you won't have the evidence or the way of knowing. There isn't the material things to tell you, and there's not going to be someone else who can tell you. This is very much with the inner child, with the moon phases, with the Hanged Man. This is an inner journey you have to go on. There won't be, you have to trust that divine timing is there, and these energies are there to make sure that you take the time to make the right choice. But only you will know. It's like nobody else is going to tell you. There's not going to be evidence that suddenly makes it clear. And it is possible that something will come up at the right time, but you don't even have a view of what that would be. But I think it would suggest to me that you will know when it comes, but only you will know when it comes. So it's not going to work in a collective reading for me to say this is precisely what will show it. So Spirit's being a little bit tricky here in saying that the whole purpose of this is for you to go within and find it yourself. So me as a tarot reader here can't give you the exact roadmap. You've got to be comfortable and trust the divine timing is there. And it is there, but you've got to go within to find and navigate what you want with it. So, okay, so if we're not going to get the exact timing or how you would do it, I did want to look at who you would best exemplify if you are following the divine timing. So that may help, because as it says, this is very you. So I was looking at a couple of romance archetype cards to show how you are in a relationship, a couple of career ones to show how you are in your vocation, a couple of universal energy to show spiritually, and then a couple of wild cards. So if all else fails, because this is a very internal thing and Spirit's not going to tell us much about the timing, it's just going to say, yeah, divine timing is there. These may be things, once you feel these energies in one or more areas of your life, depending upon where you think this actually is playing out, that'll kind of tell you that you are being what you need to be to access the blessing and the divine timing. And I think the ultimate blessing is to be with your people. So around the romance energy, around the relationship energy, the escapist, for those who seek an escape through love, this card serves as a reminder to face reality and not use love as a mere distraction. So there's definitely something here about, I think, not wanting to just escape, but wanting to find out where you would commit. And that's not just in love, but in like romance, it's in all relationships. And the daredevil, for the risk takers in love, this card encourages you to take chances, but also to be mindful of the stakes. So I think it's when you're no longer feeling you're just being an escapist or a daredevil, when you feel more sure. But it is sort of saying that you've got to allow yourself that openness and be prepared to do that, to have the courage to do that before you're going to get to the point where you really know what it is that you should be doing. Okay, so let's see if it gets a little bit more clear with career archetypes. The Crystal Seer, forecast imminent career milestones. Okay, so I think that you'll have a good psychic energy around. If you're looking around your career, then you're going to get a sense of prophecy around it. Look for confirmations, look for synchronicities. It's going to tell you something there. And the Remote Work Oracle, the feasibility of remote work in your career. I think it's saying that some of your people and your connections may not be close to you now. It might be once you've actually found, you've kind of navigated towards the connections. It may be that it is done literally remotely through a lot of sort of online and overseas, or it may be that, particularly with that Knight of Wands, that once you have an idea about somewhere you need to move to make it less remote, that may be telling you that you're actually starting to make the decisions that count. Okay. Let's have a look at the Oracle of the Universe. Actually, I'm feeling I only want to draw one card for each of these. So one is around the spiritual side of things. So what do we have as a bit of a signpost spiritually for you? Wow, Perseus, destiny. So that's a journey. It's going on a journey. It takes time. And it takes a sense of, the daredevil, of the sense of adventure and so forth. But it is saying there's something destined here. I think the main thing spiritually is that, when you're thinking about any of these sort of Greek myths where people go on long voyages, they had to just believe in divine timing. They had to believe that the gods were watching over them. They had to believe they had a mission, because for a long time they really didn't know. And they were facing whatever sort of perils or whatever. Not that I'm saying you're going to literally face perils, but I think that there's a sense here, this is a long journey, and you just have to have faith that you're going to be guided. If you spiritually connect to that, it all works out. Eventually, as I say, something will come from the unmanifest to let you know. I suspect maybe first around your career, But even if you're looking for love, I think maybe that might be the sign that you're starting to get in the right groove for the right people to meet the right people. Okay, so then let's also see a wild card energy that might be around when the divine timing is really kicking in for you. The mermaid and the puppet, two-faced, manipulation of love, inaccessible heart, fascination. Okay. For some of you, this may be understanding a relationship that you're in is not the right one and having the courage to let it go. That is possible there. It may also be that you start to understand patterns where you've either been one or other, because sometimes you might have been the mermaid and sometimes you might have been the puppet. So I think there's something about a clarity. One of the things that's important here is a clarity in a relationship, like the soul family relationships, whether they're love or whether they're other forms of connection, need to be with equals. If there is a sense that one is pulling the strings, that's going to be an issue. So understanding that, I think, is a really clear wildcard energy to let you know that you're starting to navigate to where you're meant to be. All right. So what actions or approaches could help you, or like a concept of action or approach or a human situation could help you to make the most of the divine timing and to find your people, which is, as I say, what I think this is all about. Broken open. Okay. This is why you have to go within, you have to go into the inner child and you have to give it time, because there's something that has to be broken open. It could be from a broken heart. It could be from something in your childhood. It could be things that haven't worked out before, things that you want to escape from in terms of relationships, things that you want to be remote from. There's something that has to be broken open as an action to get to the core of what you want here. There's no actual escape from that. And it'll take as long as it takes. It doesn't mean that it's going to be terrible, but you have to be open to allowing that to happen. So given that, what kind of heart energy do you have to connect to unleash this divine timing, pile one? Hurt heart, I see you. Yeah, there is a hurt. I think for many of you, as I say, it's around relationships that were out of balance, relationships that weren't core. For some of you, it might have been being born into the wrong family for your soul family. As I say, I'm not wanting to say that all families are bad or anything. Sometimes we are born into our soul family, but I suspect for this group, probably not, or only some of them were. There is some hurt. There is some disappointment. The inner child, it probably happened quite early, or the inner child, protecting your inner child has brought that energy in. But it is saying be brave. Be ready to just let it take the time it needs to take. Don't feel you have to escape from anything. Just allow yourself to go within and heal that. See what it is, because the sooner you do that, the sooner you can move towards what you're looking for. Okay, so let's just get you a couple of planetary energies to help you as well. Wow, Pluto and Pluto. Yeah, there's no getting past this one. I mean, like that Pluto can be very fast, though, you know, other planets are even faster. But like there is a sense of something very significant shifting here. This is a significant, powerful transformation. That's why it can't be rushed. That's why it's not clear. You're in tower energy for quite a long time. Uranus is even more tower energy, but Pluto is sort of like the very deep work that you do to transform. So that's what's going on here. That's why you need to give yourself time. It's going to have a good outcome, and divine timing is going to protect you, but it's profound what you've got to go through. There's a journey that you have to go through. And Jupiter and Neptune, it will lead to something very beautiful. There's an expansion, there's a benefic sense, there's the people you need to connect to, there's the ideal. Something has to deeply transform in you, way back probably from when you were young, or certainly from something you've carried through as a pattern from when you were young. It's in your love life, it's in your career, it's in your family, it's in your friendships, it's in something, or it could be in a number of them. And it has to do with being an equal and being with your right people and having the right connections. But you need to go within, because it's only within that you can do it, that you can heal this. But when you do, there is a beautiful ideal energy that's coming through for you, an expansion into what you want to be in your life. So to finish off, I'm just going to pull a couple of cards from the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle for an indication of the highest good that can come from this, whether it's something that needs to be healed or whether it's something that can be leveraged. So firstly we get growth. There's definite growth associated with this. Yeah, it is growth. To connect in with the right people, to find what you need to let go of in the autumn season to be able to start something new. This is about your growth. And illumination. Yeah, the understanding. The understanding. There's the growth through understanding. That's what this is all about. But you have to go within to do it. So I hope that resonates for you, Pile 1. I hope it was helpful. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with the High Priestess or intuition. And it said time is hidden. So I was thinking, well, hopefully we'll get a little bit more of a clue in the rest of it. And I was starting to wonder when I was doing Pile 1 because it got far more indeterminate, so to speak, once we got into the rest of the reading. But luckily the opposite has happened here. So although the ultimate time is hidden, and that's about the ultimate outcome because it just says future with the sun, which is lovely. We're heading towards something really lovely. Something in your life path, something joyful, something really sort of expansive and vital and joyful and so forth. But it's in the future. It's not going to tell you exactly when, but it is giving us some clues about some timing periods that are important to look at. And I think because we're talking about over a couple of seasons, and it doesn't necessarily have to be sort of in the order that they're showing there, because literally Leo comes before Virgo. So I guess it could be that something starts in Virgo season in 1 year and lasts almost a year to get to Leo season. So it's going to depend on who's come to the reading. But I don't think that we have to be too strongly bound by the order that those came out in. But I do think that there's something around the sort of Leo-Virgo season in the year that's going to be important. And there are particular aspects that happen here. So what we're dealing with, obviously, is something to do with your spiritual growth, your intuition, your psychic abilities, all that kind of thing is somehow connected to this. And I actually think for some of you, it's the growth. Divine timing is the growth of your capacity to be kind of oracular, a seer, a prophet in some way, like literally to be seeing the future, like that your ability is going to really, really build up over this period of time. For others, it's like you already know, like whatever I'm talking about here, the time may be hidden and you can have a sense of this, but you already know because you're already like that. You're already focused on the future, but it's definitely towards what your life path is. And then what we have is the other cards here to show us some energy or timing and some other things around it. So the interesting thing is if I might go to Leo first only because it comes first in the year. But as I say, depending on who comes here, don't worry too much about that. But if we're looking in Leo season, as if we're looking at your intuition, your spiritual growth and so forth, this is around strength. So it's showing that a real strength starts to come forward around whatever it is that you're intuiting, whether it's your own spiritual psychic gifts or it's some other future that you're trying to create. It could be any type of future that you can see now, but you don't know when it's going to be. There's something around Leo season that there is a great strength. You really understand your strength. And this gives you a sense of peace and tranquility. But I think you may have a strength that's associated with that. I think that there might be something in you that is a peacekeeper, a peacemaker in some way, and that is going to help you move towards the future. Some of you may literally, with psychic gifts, spiritual gifts, or even just social, interpersonal skills and so forth, you may be extremely good at helping keep the peace, find the peace, bring about those sort of outcomes, politically, socially, within a work environment, within relationships, whatever it is. And this may be a very big part of who you are going to be in the future, either as a career or the way that you are in relationships. So there's something about that. There's coming to terms with and knowing that you have a strength and feeling at peace because of that. You can really taste it. You can see the future coming in. But I think there's also a strength that you have in that space. Then if we look at Virgo season, which theoretically comes after it, you may then go into a period of contemplation having realized this, or it could be, as I say, it depends on the timing. It may also say that part of your strength and part of the reason that you can keep the peace, move towards the future, be confident, is that once you realize something about yourself in terms of strengths, you then go within to integrate it and to work out what does that mean, because you have all these doors that could open. So once you've understood a strength and you're at peace with using it, then you can go within using your intuition. I mean, that's the hermit and that's the high priestess, a very spiritual energy here, but to work out which door do I go in? Because it's kind of saying you've got a lot of options. And it goes, when one door closes, another opens. So you may well have decided that something you're moving away from, and now you have peace to know what your future is. But even without that, I feel with this one, it's really that there are many options, and you go within to determine the best one, the best door to go through. Like, I'm literally getting for some of you that if you are like a peacekeeper in some way, it's like you go within to know which of these doors takes me to the conversation that brings about the better outcome. And you have a psychic radar to do that, which is based on a kind of oracular prophetic ability. And you're coming into knowing that within yourself. So let's get a little bit more information. Let's firstly see with tarot, what is the blessing or boon of this divine timing? Then we're going to have a look at what could be the challenge or the opportunity wrapped up in a challenge. And then how can you kind of know the difference and know when you're heading towards the blessing side of it? So firstly, a little bit more about what is the blessing of this divine timing for you. Seven of Cups reversed, Eight of Swords, Devil reversed, Eight of Wands reversed, Five of Swords. It's interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if some have come to both pile 1 and pile 2 with this. There's a kind of a similar energy. And as I said, like in this one, there is a bit more information about the timing there, and then the other one there was a bit more information, the timing in the first card. But I wouldn't be surprised if some of you do, because there's some similar energy here. But you don't have to have. But if you do feel drawn to part 1 when you come to here, maybe go and watch it. There could be a bit of both associated with this. What the blessing is for you is it gives you a clarity that breaks you out of what your mind tells you. So this is your intuition, this is your spirituality. You're getting more and more strong at understanding that your intuition is a better barometer for you than just thinking it through, or just feeling it. It's kind of like, this is a really good balance of both. It's the clarity rather than just all the emotion with the cups energy, but it's also not being bound up by seeing or understanding the mind on its own binds you up too much. So there's a boon in understanding your intuition is a good balance there, and that it's freeing you from something. So this could be the door that's closing. You're freeing yourself from maybe ideas that you had before that didn't work, things that weren't taking you where you wanted, the attitudes of others, all of that kind of thing. And it's interesting because part of the blessing is not letting it go too fast until you've cleared out what isn't working. So I'm saying it's quite similar in the energy to pile 1 without saying too much about it. There is something here about you really starting to understand, in a sense, not only what doors should you go through, but which ones should you shut. And there's a good sense of timing. And this, again, might be why there's a little bit of time associated with all of this. There's a sense of timing, and so that you don't act precipitously. There is something to be let go of. There is some battle that's not worth it. Like in peace, again, it's like there are certain battles that just aren't worth it, and you become very clear on that so that you can move forward. But the liberation occurs at the right time when you've let go of I think it's attitudes, beliefs, propaganda, arguments, debate, all of that sort of stuff. You've got this kind of, I think many of you are around situations, it's quite emotional, quite emotive, but you can actually balance that out with a clarity, a sense of the future coming in. So let's see what the challenge is for you around the divine timing. Six of Pentacles reversed, Seven of Swords reversed, Two of Swords, King of Cups reversed. Okay, so I do think that there's something very spiritual about this, and I think it's about you coming into your spiritual power, but I feel that for most of you, there really is. It's like you're in a debate, or you're in an argument, or you're trying to find peace, or you're trying to find solutions between various parties, and you can see a future clearer than others can, but you have to work out how to bring that message, because the challenge is that you have to be very realistic about the people that you're dealing with at the moment are your equals. So if you are used to using, say, your spiritual or prognostication skills, or even your peacekeeping skills, whatever it is, to just tell people what to do, to get up and be a lecturer at university and tell people the answer, or be the advisor and just tell them what to do, or be the spiritual guide and just tell them what to do. This is not going to work with this. It's not going to work with this. There's something else you're meant to do with this, which actually helps people come to their own conclusions. But you are dealing with equals, and you have to be realistic about this. It's not just coming in just telling people what to do. You've got to bring them to a decision, And you've got to be very emotionally clear and be able to heal a situation that's kind of at loggerheads. So this definitely has a sense of using your abilities in a more subtle way than you might have done it before, because you're very strong with this. And with many people, probably if you said something was the case, people would really listen to it and do it. But you're not in that situation, or to bring you to this. And this might be both the challenge and the blessing. It might be saying to really build your strength with this and to really understand what you can do and what the future is. You're going to be in a situation where you used to be able to just tell people and they would follow. This time you've got to use your persuasive skills. It's going to be a blessing in the end, but it's also the challenge. So how would you kind of know the difference between the blessing of this and the challenge of it to get that into balance? Ace of Cups reversed, Justice, Five of Pentacles. Okay. So part of this, when you know, when it's at the point where you're getting this into balance, either for you or for others, there's something about this where even loneliness or not having the heart connection has to be risked, because justice is important here. You or the others have a lot at stake here. Doesn't necessarily mean that you'll both walk away alone and with broken hearts or anything like that, but it is saying that justice has to rule. There's a saying which is, let justice reign though the heavens fall, or something like that. It's a Latin saying. I don't know the Latin for it. But it basically says there are times where it doesn't matter what the outcome is, justice has to be seen. It has to be done. There's also a statement that says that the wheels of justice grind exceedingly slow but exceedingly fine. There's something like that with you guys in whatever part of your life this is dealing with. And you'll know when you're at the point where you're dealing with the challenge, but you're also really dealing with the boon, because you're really dealing with the blessing about what you can do in the future. You'll know, because that's the stakes we're talking about. So this is kind of interesting. So let's see how it plays out on various levels. So I firstly want to look at the energy around either love or relationships, then around career or vocation. Then we're going to have a look at a spiritual energy and a wild card energy. So this is all to give you some sense of the timing, what else you'll see in the timing of this. So around either romance or love, we get the Charmer. This card celebrates the magnetic allure you bring into a relationship, reminding you that attraction is a powerful tool in love. So yes, you have a lot of allure. You can charm many people. But I do think that in this case, even with, and that will probably help you, the charm will help you with this, but you are amongst equals. This is not as simple as just walking in the room and your sheer charisma and knowledge wins the day. But it is sort of something to do with how you do this. Bringing charm and true charm into the energy is going to be helpful for you. But charm amongst equals. And the Entertainer. This card is for those who bring joy and laughter to the relationship, reminding you that love should also be fun. Yeah, because there's something very serious about this. So maybe the way that you also, and also if there is a bit of a battle about who's sort of like meant to be the guide or the authority in this, or whatever it might be, just making it a bit of fun, bringing a bit of sort of drama and charm into it may be a way to help, because it's going to be necessary in this situation for some reason. Okay, let's see what we get around career or vocation. The Artist. Okay, so a lot of you are likely to be very artistic, very creative. This is the sort of energy that we've got. And it makes a lot of sense, actually, whether you're literally being an artist or whether you're bringing art, entertainment, charm to what you do to resolve something where it's about justice. This could be partly that, the people that you're connecting with, as I say, they're your equals, they're your peers, and how you deal with that. If that doesn't apply, the other thing that I think could be happening is that you'll know this leveling up, because it is a leveling up we're talking about here, occurs when what you're doing in your career is less a science and more an art. And the change maker. Yeah, because you're resolving something, you're bringing something into balance, high stakes, change, all of those sort of things. You could be doing a career that's connected with change in some way. Or you may know that you need to change your career because you can't build further. You've got to the top of the thing. Everybody's listening to you. You now need to be amongst equals at another level. So it could be that you're ready to change your career. Okay, so let's also have a look at what you get spiritually around this divine timing. Crooks, Southern Cross, signal. Okay, so this tells me that there's something coming from the dream time for you, something coming from the liminal space, which makes sense with the High Priestess. Why I say that is signal itself tells me that there's sort of like you're going to get signs that are going on, but also because if you have a look at how this card is portrayed, it looks like First Nations people here in Australia, and they're incredibly psychic. It kind of makes sense. Incredibly connected to the liminal space. So you will get the information you need. You are a seer, you are a prophet, you are oracular. That's not even in contention here. It's that leveling up to another level, using it at another level. That's what this is about. This is what the divine timing is about. So let's have a look at what a wild card energy might be also to give you some more informational guidance about this divine timing for you. Genetic eyeliner, fearless courage, inner strength, incentive. Yeah, I think this is just for you to realise. I do think you're moving into something a bit high stakes. High stakes relationship, high stakes workplace, high stakes social issue, whatever it might be. This is like, remember, know that this is who you are. And like, you know, like the eye, one eye shut, one eye open, this sort of sense of like the internal vision and the external vision being beautifully in balance. That's part of it, you know, knowing that you have the strength, believing in that. Okay, so let's see what kind of energy around action is called upon for you to best use this divine timing. Pile 2. Life of the party. Okay, you're meant to get out there and be connected with people, the sun, that sort of energy. It's like the entertainer, the charmer. You really have amazingly good interpersonal skills, like you really do. And like there's something about connecting with that and finding the right people and finding the equals, all of that kind of thing. You're very intuitive, you're very oracular, very spiritual, but there's also part of your charm and part of what you bring to the table is this sort of entertainer, this artistic touch, all of that kind of thing. You could, with these two cards, go very much within, but this is saying that divine timing asks you to do that occasionally, but at other times to be out there and connecting with others. So let's see the heart energy that helps you with this. Healing heart, face your shadow and grow. Okay, so this is probably saying that there is always a balance. As I'm saying, it's high stakes. There might be times where you have to be prepared to be on your own rather than just being with a lot of other people. But on the other hand, you do need to connect with other people because your message is important for other people. But somewhere along the line, you either have or you will encounter things where you feel that you were misunderstood or your heart was broken or something didn't work the way that you wanted to. This is saying always let that heal, because at the end of the day, this is who you're meant to be. And that sometimes we just have to put ourselves out there, in a sense, for our destiny to allow it to occur. Okay, let's get you a couple of planetary energies also to help. Chiron and Neptune. Yeah, there is healing associated with this, but it's healing towards an ideal. It's healing towards peace. It's healing towards who you are in the liminal space, becoming who you are in the daylight as well. And Sun and Venus, bringing in love. You're very charming. You're very attractive. You're very charming, all of that sort of thing. So allow that to come in, and some of your life path is around that. I also think if you are looking for love, you will find it in a place where you are helping to bring peace, where you are amongst equals, and where there's a true sort of like soul connection that's very, very obvious. You may in fact meet them in the liminal space beforehand too. So if that's something you're looking for in love, there's something connecting all these things for you. Okay, so to finish off, I just want to draw 2 cards from the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. And this is to show kind of the highest thing that can come out of this divine timing for you. And it will either be something that some challenge that you meet, or it might be some blessing that you leverage, or it could be one of each. So firstly, Mandalora. So this is a spiritual energy, and it's about balancing what appear to be opposing opposites. So that kind of makes sense with the sort of negotiation and so forth. So there's something in that, in the balancing of opposites and the bringing of energy together to create new growth. And overwhelm, getting over the overwhelm. Okay, yeah, there is something. I think the thing is, I think that you're someone who is incredibly charming, incredibly performative, incredibly artistic, able to bring about change, you're able to get a lot of people to do a lot of things just by the sheer energy of your charisma and all that kind of thing. But you're also incredibly spiritual. And every once in a while, particularly when you aren't able to just turn the charm on, when you're actually dealing with something that's really high stakes and where you're with equals, people who are equally charming, equally psychic, whatever it is, it can be overwhelming. So I think this is bringing things into balance so that you're not overwhelmed, so that you also have the peace that's associated with this. But either way, this is you heading towards using your psychic spiritual abilities at a higher order. And I think towards peace and balance and the reconciliation of opposites in some way. So I hope that resonates for you, pile 2. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you come to the reading with the Page of Swords, curiosity, winter season. So this could be something around winter season, whether you're sort of in that at the moment, close to it, whether it's far away. It may give you some sort of idea about a period of time, I think, of both communication, because that's really, to me, what the Page of Swords is about. And as this card says, curiosity, exploration in some way. This has got something to do with divine timing for you to decide, I think, who you want to be and how you want to express yourself. I think this is what this is showing. Because with the other cards, we get the sense time is moving quickly, but you won't ultimately know time is not available. So beyond winter season being somehow an important point for you maybe to either start the exploration or to come to the conclusion of the exploration, everything else is a bit hard to judge. There is something about either through dreams or night activities that are going to actually really help you explore whatever this is and communicate in some way. You might be a bit of a night owl, or with uninhibited there, this may be about getting out there and expressing yourself, bringing in the people that you want, love-wise, whatever it might be. I think this is not going to be so much around career, to be honest, unless you do some kind of career at night. So if you're a performer or something like that, then absolutely. But otherwise, I think this is more around relationship and connection and who you want to be and who you want to connect with and how you want to express yourself. Because I really think with uninhibited at the end, that's really showing something like you're really feeling very comfortable to be who you are. And whether that's more in nighttime activities, who knows. But what we have here, as I say, winter season potentially, we have something where it says a lot is happening very quickly and you need to take time out to rest. This literally could be saying for some of you that divine timing is trying to get you to slow down a bit because you're a bit of a night owl and you're burning the candle at both ends. So that could be something for some of you, if that makes sense. But certainly with this is the Knight of Wands, there's a lot of activity, a lot of movement. So you're trying to balance that. Divine timing is trying to get you to balance when you use your energy and you act and when you rest so that you actually do this properly. If you are someone who your job is in the day and then at night this is when you really shine, there could be a thing about how you're getting that in balance, because there's an awakening, there's a judgment, there's a calling coming. You either have something you're meant to do or you're literally meant to wake up to the fact that you can't burn the candle at both ends because it kind of brings in chaos. So I think this is saying that while it is important to express yourself and all of those things, you have to also learn to deal with your energy because something's coming in, some big change is coming in. That's a bit like tower energy with judgment energy. It's important. This is why it's divine timing. It's giving you an opportunity. But it's almost as though when it says time is not available, that it's like you kind of on one level doing a lot during the day and then you're also doing a lot at night, and then suddenly there's this huge opportunity or something that comes along and you're like, oh my God, that'll just throw everything all up in the air. I don't have time for this. So it's almost like something's coming in and your own curiosity and your own wish to communicate brings it in. But there's also something here. It's a very strong message about how are you balancing this and what matters the most. I think it's just saying there's a lot of energy, a lot of things around this, but like to get to your true calling and not have it in chaos, you've got to decide where you're going to use your energy and where you're going to rest. So that's the main message, I think, coming around divine timing for you. So let's see what the blessing is. We're going to look at first what the blessing is that divine timing's bringing in. Then we're going to ask what the challenge is. Then we're going to ask how you can tell the difference. So the blessing for divine timing, the Hierophant reversed, the Queen of Cups reversed, the Knight of Pentacles, the Nine of Wands, the Ace of Wands. Okay, this is a very creative, a very self-determined group. There's nothing wrong with that at all, but it is. You are very much that. You are not conventional at all. This is why we've got the uninhibited. And you don't, interestingly enough, even though you're unconventional, you don't wear your heart on your sleeve, but you know that you're different. You know that you're different, and you're prepared to dedicate yourself to something, and you're prepared to put the energy in if you are inspired enough. If you're not inspired, no, you're not going to do it. It doesn't, but it's more from inspiration than from the heart. So it's like you have energy to burn, but you have to be inspired to do it, and then you will have the energy to do it, then you dedicate. But there is something here, and I think this might be the Queen of Cups reversed. It's like, yes, you're different. It's almost like you are so curious and so different and so, it's just say uninhibited, you want to be who you are, that you haven't fully worked out. And what divine timing's trying to get you to do by having it take a bit of a rest is to work out what is true to your heart as well, so that you make the right choices. Because it really does look like at the moment you're almost going to have a wake-up call when things just, you can't balance everything. You can't do everything. No matter how much you think you're dedicated to it and you have energy to burn, it'll burn out. So something's going to be important enough to you, that something's coming in that's important enough for this, that may become more of a focus. But it's like, oh, how do I fit that in? So it could be that, you're kind of like really busy at work in the day and ambitious, and you're out at night and everything. And then suddenly the love of your life walks in, and it's like, I don't have time. How do I do this? So this is what this is saying. The boon is to get you to stop and get into your heart. So let's see what the challenge is. I think the challenge looks pretty obvious here, but let's just see what Spirit wants to say about what the challenge is. Four of Cups reversed, Knight of Swords reversed, Three of Swords, Nine of Pentacles. Okay, all right. The challenge, my dear pile 3, is that you don't like being conventional. You're not remotely interested in being conventional. You would find it as boring as can be. You're so different. But something's got to give. And like, only you can make the choice. Only you can make the choice to do it. You're very strong. You're very strong people. You don't necessarily, like, nobody will tell you what to do. Nobody will tell you what to do. But something's coming. The other possibility is that you thought you were able to balance these and you're happy, and then someone leaves you, or something leaves you, or you lose a job, or something. Something doesn't hold together. I think for most of you, though, it's like, you come to a point where you can't juggle it all, and only you can make that decision. But it really grates. It is hard for you because you really don't want limits. You don't want any limits at all. You're the curious, expansive, energetic person, but you have a wake-up call that there's a point at which limitless becomes just chaos. So that's what this is all about. So how do you know the difference? How will you know when you've hit that point? I mean, like, I do think with chaos turning up, you'll probably get a pretty good wake-up call. But let's just sort of see, how will you know the difference between you really expressing yourself and being true and exploring all you want to do, and being able to make the decision about when enough is enough and you need to prioritize, which is what this is really looking at. Six of Swords reversed, Six of Wands reversed, Two of Pentacles. Okay. There's going to be a point where it's not smooth sailing anymore when chaos comes in. You've been able to burn the candle at both ends and do all these things for a long time, but there's a point at which you won't be able to anymore. And it may be, as I say, that you cease to get the recognition for all that you're doing. One side or other, like, if it's in your day job, suddenly everything slows down. Or, at night when you're out there, you don't get the same response. Whatever it is, there's a sense that you're not moving forward anymore, it's not peaceful anymore, and you're not being recognised for what you can do. And there's a choice that you have to make. Where do you put your material energy? That's when you know. That's when you'll know that you're at that point where you've got to actually confront the challenge as well as take the blessing of this timing and work out, what the difference is between the two. So let's have a look at across a number of areas. We're going to look at this around love and relationships. We're going to look around career. We're going to look around spirituality. We're going to look around a wild card energy. So firstly, some of the sort of romance or love or relationship energy that is being triggered by this divine timing for you. The Charmer, that's interesting. That came out for one of the others. So some of you may have come to more than one reading. And yeah, you are very charming. You're very uninhibited. You're very exciting. You're exciting people. And the Liberator, yeah, and you like to be free. You don't like to be... I think for some of you, you're going to meet the love of your life. And it's like, oh, okay, now I have to kind of fit this person in, and I can't be sort of free, to just do whatever I want and to explore. I think for some of you, that's what's going to play out here. But there's definitely something where you have a lot of, I want to be free, I want to be uninhibited, I want to be who I am. And you're very charming with it, but as I say, it's like, it's just going to exhaust yourself. That's what this is saying. So let's have a look at career and vocation, how it might play out. Introvert. Okay, so this might be the night time for some of you. Actually, you might be very two different people. Maybe that in your workplace you're very quiet and very studied, and people would not believe it, but if they saw you out at night, you're completely different. And I actually really like the energy around what you're doing. There's nothing actually wrong with anything you're doing. It's just that it's just a bit too much, and you're going to have to make a choice to slow down on one or other, or just balance them out a bit, or you'll just exhaust yourself. The other thing around your career, the empathy emissary, like, that's interesting. It's like, I think what's going to happen with this is that you actually do have a very big heart. Yeah, and that's also going to pull you towards something. There's going to be something in your career where you're caring for others is going to sort of make you think there's a different energy or different focus that you need, and you can't balance all of it. Or there's going to be chaos around everybody, and you're trying to help them do and sort it through and everything. There's something going to kind of throw it all up in the air. But I think you're very empathic. You will actually help people. Let's see a spiritual energy around the divine timing for you, pile 3. Okay, necklace, self-trust. Okay, so this is about understanding who you are and the beauty of what you have and how you shine. But it's also about one gem that's more than the others, because this is about someone who's very kind, and you are very kind. You are very charming. You want to liberate. You want everybody to be free to be who they are, all of that sort of thing. And you've got bucket loads of energy for the most part, but as I say, there's a limit for everybody. But this is a story about someone whose kindness, each kindness, she got a gem, and then she got one in particular that was of true, real worth because of a very significant act of kindness. So I just think that there's something here that this divine timing is when you start to realize you can trust yourself to make the decision. As I say, you have to make the decision, and you'll do it from a place of kindness, but you'll know that you have to do it, that there's something that's more important than just everything. That's the kind of energy. So let's also see around a wild card. The purge, psychophysical well-being, toxicity, introspection, cleansing. Yeah, it's like you're going to have to ease up a bit, or it's going to hit you physically. You're just going to be exhausted, and you're not the sort of person who wants to be exhausted. So there definitely is sort of something here of letting that energy out so that you can focus on what really matters to you going forward. So let's see what action is being called upon. What action is this divine timing calling upon you to do? Fishbowl. Okay, all right. So I think there's a couple of things about this. I think you're very seen in some way. Though, interestingly enough, as I say, some of you in your career, it might be the opposite. But I think that there's something about your life that everybody sees. And you are quite uninhibited. But it's also when is that working for you? When can you demonstrate it by doing? And in fact, if you're demonstrating by doing and then you're about to burn out, then also by demonstrating by doing might be the way. Being very open about what you're doing is actually going to help others. But I think it's also how much are you on display, and how much is that impacting your energy levels? So just something to think about, pile 3. Then let's have a look at the heart energy that this divine timing is calling on you to look at. Reinventing heart, get to know yourself anew. Okay, so there is something performative. There is something, you're very, as I say, very charming, very lovely energy. Like, I really like your energy. It's not that, but I just think that there's something that you're so seen. Like, some of you may be, in careers or whatever where you're really seen, though underneath you're actually quite shy. But there's something here where you need to reinvent what it is to your heart and what matters to your heart. Like, you're going to be challenged to do that. There's some fate energy coming in. There's some awakening coming in. What really matters to you. And I think you'll find it's a balance of these two things so that you can fit the important thing in. But you are going to be forced to make a choice about where you put your energy. Okay, so let's get you some planetary energy to help in making that choice. Mercury and Neptune. Yeah, how do you communicate your ideals, who you are, your image? You're very glamorous, actually. And there's nothing wrong with that again. But it's like, how do you use that glamour best? Because as I say, we thought time was moving quickly or hidden. Like, this is going to happen very fast. So thinking about this now, like, what would you do if tomorrow, if you are living your life, in high wattage energy and you're seen and you're out there and you're glamorous, all those things, and then tomorrow something comes along that is even more important than all of it and you're not sure how to fit it in, think about it now. Because you have a very sharp mind. You can work it out. You can work out how to connect to the ideal. Okay, and Mercury and Chiron. And in doing that, you heal certain things, heal others, your empathy. Your empathy has something to do with this, actually. It's. I think maybe part of the reason that you sort of burn the candle at both ends is you want to be there for everybody. So this might be actually working out what is the ideal way to heal and connect and communicate to make that work. Okay, so lastly, we're just going to draw a couple of cards from the Wisdom of the Sacred Bee Oracle. This is meant to show the highest energy that you can attain through this blessing of divine timing. It will either be something challenging that you overcome, or it will be a blessing that you can particularly leverage, or a bit of both, because we're going to pull two cards. So firstly, we get Taurus. So this isn't Taurus as in Taurus as in the sign. This is actually a sacred geometry symbol, which is about internal balance, and it shows what's within is without. So this is definitely talking about if you feel within a lack of balance, it's going to occur in the external world. If the external world is in a lack of balance, it's going to occur in the internal world. So there's just something here. It's all about balance. But it is saying that if you work on it internally, you can probably even head off at the past, the sort of chaos, be way ahead of it. And co-creation. Okay, so yeah, it may also be that one of the things that you need to work out here is where others can pick up stuff, where you're not always the person who's doing everything, because there might be a bit of an energy around that with you, because you're almost indefatigable, but even you will have your point. But this is something you're meant to co-create with others, and that's going to be the next stage of what you do. So it's less about you just being watched, it's also about you connecting with the right people to do the right thing. But only you can determine how to do that. No one else can tell you how to do it. After that, you'll find the people to connect with. So I hope that resonates for you, Pile 3. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.